Hey everyone, welcome to this month's Lead the Way Wednesday. Today we have a really fun topic for those that are interested in moving into people management. And because it's tax season, we're going to do a little spoof on taxes as well. Our topic for today is the people tax. So, what exactly does the people tax mean, and especially as it relates to people management? This is actually a very common thing that every people manager faces, or any manager faces that has a team underneath of them. And it really revolves around the amount of time you, as the manager, have to spend on the actual people side of your job, not just the strategy and the projects and all of that stuff that is more aligned with maybe the IC work you were doing before you became a people manager. So, today we're going to dive into that topic and learn a little bit more about what it is and maybe some strategies that can help minimize some of this time or some of the overhead of these common things that you're going to run into. So let's dive on in. That first thing that is very costly, if you will, as a people manager in terms of your time, that is new when you move into people management, but maybe not completely foreign to you, is really the ability to navigate complex relationships. So if you moved from peer to manager, like I did in my role, it is very strange and it is a little bit weird at first, and the reality is because your relationship changed. For example, if you were great peers before, like I was in my role with mine, you had a good working relationship, you trusted each other. The reality is now that you're their manager, and so your relationship has actually changed. You're no longer peers. So you, as the people manager, you need to put time and effort into rebuilding those relationships and navigating through some of the challenges that might come with that. This can also surface in your job, such as resolving conflicts, to providing mentorship with them. Leaders have to invest a substantial amount of time fostering those healthy relationships within their team, as well as maybe their new management peers. So, understanding your teammates' individual motives, their aspirations, it requires active engagement and empathetic listening for you. So that turning on those active listening skills, really putting in the time and effort to get to know your people from a different perspective than maybe you knew them before. And that time is spent building rapport and that trust that's really essential for creating a cohesive and motivating workforce. So this will take up your time as a new people manager or as a people manager. So you need to make sure that you're carving out space and time for that. So how can you do that with your team? Well, if you're not already, make sure you have regular one-on-ones with them. This is a great way to get to know people. It's a great way to foster open communication channels with your team members and ensures that they have space and dedicated time with you in order to raise things to you as well. So for me, I do weekly one-on-ones with my teammates, and it's been a great way for me to encourage feedback sessions for myself, as well as me being able to provide feedback to them. We can address any concerns that come up very promptly because we meet every single week. And we can also foster that culture of transparency where they can bring things to me, I can bring things to them. And each week we're just getting better and strengthening not only our relationships, but our teams as well. Another thing that you can do as a people manager is you can use tools like personality assessments, such as DISC, or you can do team building activities that really deepen the understanding and empathy among not only you and your teammates, but your teammates and their peers as well. This will help potentially reduce conflicts and misunderstandings amongst them as well, because they'll know them more as a person in or outside of work a little bit and get to know what their style is and what they actually care about. But as I mentioned, it's a tax on your time. So you are going to have to dedicate specific time and energy into getting better at this one. All right, the second one I wanted to talk about today that is really critical in people management. And one of the things that I personally value, and I know many of my teammates value, is investing in personal growth. So I don't want to say everyone, but most people genuinely want to continue growing in their roles, and they want to keep learning things and getting better so they can advance in their careers as well. So, in order to be an effective people manager, and you have to prioritize professional development of your team members. So, this involves identifying skill gaps, providing them constructive feedback, and offering them opportunities for growth. And let me tell you, this one is really tricky because it is 100% personalized, meaning one thing you tell one employee might not be the same thing that the other one needs. So therefore, the tax on your time can be pretty significant. But if you are creating those personalized development plans and offering continuous supports for them, you're going to find a better outcome at the other side. Your employees are probably going to be happier. They're likely to hang out and stick with you, if you will, instead of turning over. As well as you might create a culture where people actually want to work for you. So you have people coming in wanting to join your team because you are putting your time and energy into this and you genuinely want to see people grow and foster in their careers. So, there's a couple of strategies you can use to do this. There are a lot of templates out there that you can assess your team skills. There's also, I'm sure, actual software out there, depending on what skill sets you are trying to assess for them, as well as training materials. So, all the training, it doesn't have to just come from you. You can utilize other people out there. If your team or your company has an education budget, look for opportunities that maybe the employees might not find themselves, and offer those suggestions to them as well. Another thing that we recently started doing in my team meetings is fostering a culture where team members can actually knowledge share with each other and bring that expertise. So somebody might say, "Oh, I'm interested in learning more about how to run a pre-mortem." Well, if somebody else on my team already has that experience or it's something that they are familiar with, they might volunteer to run that session for our team as well. And all I have to do is create the forum for them to do that in. So there are many ways that you can help continue to foster your team's growth opportunities and continue their personal development in that. But it will again take time and energy from you as their manager to make sure that they're getting that feedback that they need, as well as creating those growth opportunities for them when it's needed. I'll say for me, the hardest are actually your high performers. These are the people that want to keep growing. They usually grow at a rapid pace, but sometimes it can be really challenging to find constructive feedback to give them. But in working with them, understanding again what they're motivated by and where they're trying to go in their careers will help you define new growth opportunities for them. All right, our third one today, and our final one for this episode of Lead the Way Wednesday, is balancing your task management and your team support. So, this for me comes up every single quarter and really heavy again when it's promotion and merit seasoning. Because what you have to do as a people manager is there's usually some paperwork involved with this, meaning when performance review time comes, or you're trying to get one of your employees a promotion or maybe a merit increase, you need to put together the supporting documentation for those reviews as well as for that promotion that you need. So, therefore, you got to make sure that you have your ducks in a row and you have your documentation lined up for that so you can go to bat for that employee and try to get that promotion for them. Additionally, if you're looking to grow your team or you're trying to understand where is your strategy going to take you in the next year or two, this can actually include, and it probably should include, hiring plans. So if your strategy is to continue growing your department or growing your product for me in certain ways, that might require us to spin up a new team, which means I would have to hire another product manager on my team. So when you're putting together your strategic plans, be sure to think through the people side of those plans as well and try to get ahead of that a little bit. And if you can, make it a part of your roadmap and a part of your vision because it will help you later down the road when you actually have to go and execute on it. The kind of third part of task management and team support that is very time consuming for people managers is when you're hiring people. So this kind of goes hand in hand with those hiring plans, but when it actually comes time to backfill a role or hire a new person on your team or create a transition plan for somebody off of your team, that is extremely time consuming as a people manager because it requires you to not only write, say, the job description, take the interviews, you also need to set up any interviews following yours with other team members or other managers that you want them to meet with or anything in that realm. You need to make sure that those people have the interviewing structure and they understand what's expected of them and what you need as the hiring manager for them to get out of those candidates so that your hiring plan can be successful and effective. So this can be really challenging because it requires a lot of upfront prep work from you as the manager. So therefore, here's a couple of strategies that can also help you with that. Understand your company's performance timelines. So for myself and where I'm currently at, we do merit promotion cycles in March. Therefore, in March, we have a very short timeline to get all these things in and detail matters. Therefore, in March, I got to make sure that I have extra time carved out for these performance timelines so I can meet them and I make sure that I am being thorough and putting the right time and energy that's required into those plans. One pro tip that has really helped me do that is documenting throughout the year. So I have what I like to call a brag book about each of my employees that I keep throughout the year when they have accomplishments, whether they're things they've learned, things they've met, or goals they've met, or other things that have come along the way that we maybe weren't even expecting, but they took on as responsibilities. Documenting that throughout the year, it really makes it easy when it comes time for that overarching performance review because you already kind of have these things written up and it's more of just putting it together in the format that your people team may want. The other thing is, as I mentioned earlier, including your hiring plans and your skill development plans with your roadmap vision. So, for example, if your roadmap is taking you into the AI world, which I'm sure all of us are probably talking about, or a lot of us are talking about, do you have the employees that can actually get you into that world and that can perform at that level? I can tell you right now on my team, we maybe have some people that like AI and that have some knowledge of it, but we don't have any experts. So therefore, me as a people manager, I have to think about either hiring and building out an AI team, or I have to figure out how can I actually develop some skills of my employees so that somebody could take on that team if they're genuinely interested in it, or if I think it would be a good fit for them. So when you're thinking forward of like what your plan is, what your strategy is, continue to think about the people you need to get you there because you're not going to be able to do it yourself. So with that, keep yourself one step ahead of the game if you can. If you need to hire additional roles, think about it as you're going, as well as when it comes to performance time. If you can document something today that you know you'll need tomorrow, take the second to do it because it'll be a lot easier to do it now than it will be trying to remember 6 months from now. What was that thing that Lori did? It was really good, but I can't remember the details of it. Just take a moment and jot it down at the end of your week. So in conclusion, the people tax, it's real. It represents the inherited time cost of being a people manager, encompassing these various aspects of relationship building, personal growth, facilitation, and task management. But by acknowledging these challenges and implementing some strategic approaches like we talked about today, you can optimize the time investment that's needed to maximize these areas of your job. But remember, effective leadership is not just about managing tasks. It's also and truly about nurturing relationships and empowering your individuals on your team and others to thrive in the environment that you give them. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this month's Lead the Way Wednesday, and we'll see you all next time.